developed from medical need for a better solution for disc problems than I had a current access to on the market with the equipment that existed. So where it came from largely was I noticed when I did stretching with patients and had them on their laser at the same time, their flexibility was greatly improved. So first was an idea to actually incorporate being able to do that with a lumbar stretch, because we found that disc injuries were quite resistant at times, and we needed to find a better way to relax the muscles and reduce spasm and get the stretch of the tissues that was necessary for healing to begin to occur. So we used to do laser and decompression all separately. So the other problem it caused for doctors was logistically you had to have a laser room and a decompression room separately, or you had to use a decompression table to apply laser afterwards, which took up time. So instead of having 2 rooms and 2 assistants and patients having to rotate through those different rooms, we found it logical and advantageous to employ it all on the same apparatus at the same time. So 50% less time allocation, 50% less space allocation, and 50% less labor allocation. I have patients that in the past had a great deal of spasm and could not go on a decompression table because the spasm was too great for them to actually be able to endure a traction or decompression session. So we had a few of those patients that wanted to try the decompression table when they were in heavy spasm, knowing that before, when they were in heavy spasm, they couldn't tolerate the traction. They thought, well, you know what, I'll give it a try. And, we advised them actually knowing what their previous history was, spasming under traction. So said, okay, let's give it a shot, see what happens. And the majority of them were able to tolerate a traction session while the laser was occurring. So that means it's reducing the spasm and allowing that traction to occur much more comfortably. Thousands of patients we've treated with it, and generally 90% success. A unique selling proposition is the best way to differentiate yourself from other chiropractors and eliminate effects of competition. So if you have something different and you have something new that other doctors can't do, that don't have, then that's how you differentiate yourself, and that's how you make a business work. So if you want to differentiate your business and you see the obvious benefit that will have on your practice, the patients that you treat internally and the patients you attract to your practice, that's where the financial investment makes sense. And you can't grow a business without making an investment into it. You've made an investment in education, you make an investment in your continuing education, an investment in building a practice, in starting a practice, and this is just the next stage to get you to the next level. A lot of the patients that have not had success anywhere else. So we become the go-to for patients who have not been able to be fixed by other chiropractors, physiotherapists, massage therapists, acupuncture, been through everything and usually been told that there is no solution. When these patients find a new solution, they come to us very hopeful and very confident in the fact that we may have what they're looking for. We're attracting patients that may not have come to a chiropractor had they not heard about this device. I get patients all the time that say, oh, well, I don't want chiropractic, but I'm interested in that table that you have. So that patient would have never found our office had we not had that device. So we've now attracted somebody to chiropractic and to our office that wouldn't have considered that. I would say since 2013, we're probably going into about 3 times the revenue that we would have had post-2013. And that has continued throughout the time having the table. It's improved my capabilities with those patients that might otherwise leave my practice if I run out of solutions for them. When you're successful with those patients, they obviously refer just because they know that, number one, you're interested in making investments to improve their health. They don't have to look elsewhere because they know your office is going to always have the latest and greatest equipment and capabilities that they're going to end up needing. The spine specialist was designed for those patients with back and neck pain, especially those that have not responded satisfactorily to other forms of therapy. So it's really for the cases that nothing else could help. We designed it based on a medical need for this. I found in my own practice that we had a group of patients with disc degeneration, arthritis, disc herniations that regular therapies really weren't doing the trick for. So the type of patient that this is created for has probably been through the gamut of everything and is looking for a solution. So that was the solution that we created. Now, why it's different, we've taken two of the most widely accepted successful therapies for back and neck pain and pain in general, which is spinal decompression and laser therapy, and we have combined them in an automatic robotic format. So the table essentially performs the majority of the treatment based on the doctor's diagnosis and treatment plan. How it's different than anything else, there is no other device that combines the therapies simultaneously in a scientifically specific pattern. It can be modulated to specifically focus on the problem that the patient has, so it can specifically focus on a diagnosis. If you have a disc herniation at L5, lowest level in the spine, for example, the laser actually is set to go into that area and to decompress, traction the area to pull the pressure off the spine all at the same time. In 2007, I came up with a treatment protocol called Laser Enhanced Spinal Decompression, where we specifically combine laser therapy done by hand and decompression done by a spinal traction machine into a therapeutic program addressing soft tissue injury with the laser and addressing the compressive aspect of spinal degeneration with the decompression unit. We used that for a few years, and we got so busy that I made a joke, actually, about how if I had a table that did it all for me, that I would be able to move faster and, people would get better faster and all that type of thing. And turns out that I made the joke to someone who knew a company that could build frames for me. So we got into prototype development at that point. Finished prototype up in about 2013, and I started using that in my own clinic at that point. So from there, we have treated tens of thousands of patients, actually. I think we are over 50,000 cycles on one of the devices that we're at, so we've done over 50,000 treatments on one of the devices. We have two in the office. And across Canada now there are 5, 6, 7 devices in use across Canada, and they are all treating at very similar volumes to that. So there are thousands of patients across Canada now experiencing the relief that the spine specialist can provide. The only painful thing about the spine specialist is not getting there sooner. We have a great number of patients that are in a great deal of pain when they come into our office, and they are delighted to find out that treatment is essentially painless. Most of them fall asleep during the treatment. So the fact that we have a laser relaxing the spine, increasing endorphins, releasing some of that tension while we stretch it all at the same time is a very, very comfortable thing for someone in pain. They feel like at times they would like to remain on the table all day because it just feels so good. There's very rarely ever any discomfort, and we have engineered it to make sure that that's the experience the patient gets. Well, with the spine specialist, chiropractic adjustment is not necessary. So we can, of course, add chiropractic adjustment should it be deemed that it's going to be beneficial. But truthfully, many of the patients that we see have been to 5, 6, 7, 8 chiropractors already. Some of them have done hybrids of the same thing, and they're really not interested in getting the same thing when they come to an office that's equipped with a spine specialist. So the fact that we do something different that appeals to people who don't want to get adjusted, that increases the amount of patients that will want to try the device and that find a solution for their pain. So treatment time, each visit is about 20 minutes, so you're about 15 minutes on the device. In contrast, when we used to do laser enhanced spinal decompression separately, the treatment used to be about 45 minutes long, and it involves getting on one table, getting stretched, getting on another table, getting a laser. So you need to move around, and for a patient in pain, moving around isn't always the easiest thing to do. So we created something that would be able to treat a patient while they're all in the same position and do it in a short enough period of time that the patient doesn't get uncomfortable laying down for any length of time where things are going to tighten up and they feel sore. So if you were to go to the gym, you want to make a change in the body. So you want to increase your fitness level, you want to increase your strength, you may want to lose weight. You understand that change takes two things. It takes a stimulus and it takes time for the body to adapt. With respect to healing, it's no different. So the stimulus is provided by the table, and the time to adapt and heal is provided by your body. So patients generally, to give a ballpark, we look between 20 and 30 visits over a period of 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how frequent the patient is able to come in and how frequent the doctor recommends the treatment. Laser therapy and spinal decompression have been modalities within the rehabilitation profession for 30 years on laser or more, and as long as traction has existed, actually thousands of years. So the current device, the current technology is all FDA and Health Canada registered. There's 30 years of research available to the safety and effectiveness of laser therapy and spinal decompression separately. Together, we're obviously the first company to ever do that. We've taken two of the most safe and effective modalities that exist for back pain and simply combined them. So it's not something that's new in function. It's just essentially new in concept and capability. So it was designed for people with chronic low back and neck pain related to disc degeneration, disc herniations, or general mechanical back pain. So as far as different conditions, you'd have disc herniations, you'd have disc degeneration, spinal arthritis, sciatica.